Okay, so we're back here now using OnShape again, and I have my project opened up. So we have the leg, the top, the roller, the holder and the wheel created, and today we're looking at part number 6 and part number 7. So 6 is the spike and 7 is the piece of lead that goes into the compass. Okay, so two relatively easy parts. Altogether there's 8 steps in the spike and there's only 5 steps then in the lead. So let's start working on that. So we're going to start here with our spike. So first thing we want to do is to insert a new element, and we want to insert a new part studio. So that's going to open up here, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rename that, and I'm just going to rename it spike. Okay, so you can call it whatever you like, that's what I call mine. And we'll start now with part 1. So on the top plane, sketch a radius 1mm circle with an origin as a center point. So onto the top plane. I'm going to sketch a circle, and that is going to have a radius of 1mm. So a diameter of 2. Okay, green tick once we're finished that. Step 2 is extrude the circle a distance of 25mm. So I'm going up here to extrude, and first thing it's asking is what face you want to extrude. So I want to extrude this surface here, and by default it's giving me 25, which is actually the same distance as I'm asked to do it in the question as well. So I can green tick that straight away, and you see now that we have a long cylindrical shape drawn onto the top plane and extruded out. Okay, so step 3, select normal to the top plane, chamfer the edge of the cylinder, distance should be 0.3mm. So looking down onto the top, I'm being asked to chamfer this edge. So going up here to my chamfer tool, and I'm going to choose that edge. So this is looking at the circumference there, and by default it's giving me 5mm, and you see that it's turned red here because if I tried to chamfer that by 5mm it just wouldn't work. So I need a much smaller dimension, so I'm going to choose 0.3, and there we go. That's our chamfer. Okay, step 4. Select normal to the top plane and sketch a diameter 1.3mm circle onto the top surface, using the origin as a center point. So looking down on the top again, and this time I'm going to draw a circle. So sketch onto this surface here, and I'm sketching a circle. And that circle is going to have a 1.3mm diameter. Okay, so it should nearly get out to the edge of that chamfer. Green tick once that's finished. Step 5. So select normal to the top plane, select the plane feature. Entities will be the top surface of the cylinder. Select an offset. Offset distance should be 5mm. This will create a parallel plane to the top surface of the cylinder 5mm away from it. So in short, what we're trying to do there is we're trying to make another plane that's 5mm above this surface here. So to do that, I'm going to click on plane. You might have to go into the drop down menu, but find plane, and I'm clicking on this top surface here. Okay, so we can see here now that this plane has moved a distance up here, and that distance is determined by the number that we put in here, which is 5mm. So I'm after making a plane now that is 5mm away from that surface, parallel to this surface. Green tick. Okay, so we can see our plane here now, plane number 1. Select normal to the top plane. On the plane created in step 5, sketch a point. The icon is shown. So we have to find this icon. So I'm going to go to sketch, and I'm going to choose this plane number 1. So I'm sketching onto this top plane, and I want to choose this guy here, point. Okay, and I'm going to the origin, and just one click, and I've just made a point right above the origin. Green tick. Select the loft feature, select solid and add. The profiles to loft are the point from step 6 and the circle from step 4. This loft will create a point of a spike. Okay, so we're going to essentially take this circle here and loft it up to this point. So to do that, go into this feature here, loft, and we're going to add. The profiles that we're using is this circle that we drew in step 4 and the point that we drew there in step 6. And we see here that we're getting a cone shape. So there's other ways to do this. This is the way I decided to do it. Green tick once that's finished. Last thing to do there, step number 8, is to edit the appearances. So if you think of your compass, this is going to be a shiny silver color. So go into your appearances, go into that and grab a shiny silver color. So I'm going to choose this one here. Green tick, and that is our spike finished. Now, last thing I want to do before I finish up is to remove them planes. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 planes removed. I've renamed my part, and also over here on part 1 I like to rename it here as well, so calling that spike. Okay, another thing there is that this plane now is still there, so I can actually hide that as well. So don't be afraid to hide a few pieces that make your part look a small bit funny. Okay, so going to go add here and create a new part studio, and in this one we're going to move on to the piece of lead. So again, renaming this part studio, and we're going to call this lead, and we're going to go and start part 1. So on the top plane, sketch a radius 1mm circle with the origin as center point. So the same step 1 as part number 6 as well. So looking in at the top plane, I'm going to go sketch, sketch onto the top plane, sketch in a circle, pull out the circle, dimension that as diameter 2. So quite a small circle again. Extrude distance of 25. So same step again, same step number 2. Extrude this surface, dimension of 25. And we get this long cylindrical shape again. Okay, step 3 is go normal to the front plane and sketch this shape onto the front plane. Okay, so we had a small bit of trouble here when we were doing it, but essentially what we're doing is going to the front plane, zooming in, and we're going to sketch this shape onto it. So it's a line of 2mm, 3mm, or triangle, 2 by 3. So sketching onto this plane, and I'm sketching just a line, and as far as I know it just doesn't grab on. So in SolidWorks it would just grab onto this edge, but it's not doing that for us unfortunately, so just try to get it as close as you can. It is a piece of lead, remember, so when you sharpen it, it's not going to have specific dimensions. And I can just dimension that as being 3 and as being 2. Okay, so let's try to get it close enough. Extrude remove the surface inside the triangular sketch. End type would be true all. So now we just want to cut that triangle out of that shape. So I'm going to extrude, I'm going to remove, I'm going to this triangle here, and I'm going to true all. So this is going to take a cut through all of that. And So I'm actually just going to delete that for a second and go back to my sketch here and just edit that. So I might be able to make a relation here between, yeah, so we can see there that that's not right. So I might make a relation here between this line and this edge. Yes, that's pierced that now. And go back into that sketch again. Yeah, I can just drag that sketch over a small bit to the right, so just make sure that it cuts through that whole thing there. Okay, so you might have to play around with that a small bit. Extrude, remove, through all, and in the second direction go through all again. And the faces, regions is going to be this face here. Green tick. Okay, so that's more or less what I'm looking for, is just that sharp edge here, so that we can put that onto our compass. Okay, so that now is step number 4, and step number 5 is to edit the object appearance. So again, other ways that you could probably go about making this part. This is just the way I chose to do it when creating the document. Go over here to appearances and just give that a lead colour. So I'm going to choose that one there, green tick, and hide all the things that I don't want to see, and just finish with it in this position here. So again, I've renamed this lead. I'm going to rename this part lead as well. Okay, and that is the lead and the spike now complete. So in the next part, I'm going to be looking at part 8, the roller, and part 9, which is probably the easiest part of all, this compass pin. Okay, only 4 steps. Okay, so hope you found this helpful. Let me know if you have any questions.